My name is Derek, a 36-year-old male, and the night my wife sent me that text was the night I realized how fragile trust can be when it's tested by secrecy. My wife, Samantha, and I had been married for 8 years, and I thought we had built a solid foundation. We shared a home, bills, routines, and a circle of friends. We had our disagreements, of course, but nothing I ever considered irreparable. It all changed late one Thursday evening when my phone buzzed with a message from her. At first glance, it seemed innocuous, thinking about going away for the weekend with Alex. What do you think? My heart stopped. Alex was her boss, a man I had met a few times at office events, polite but always hovering just at the edge of friendly. The phrasing of the text hit me like a punch. I couldn't process it immediately. I reread it 5 times, trying to tell myself I was misinterpreting. But the words were clear: going away, weekend, and the casual tone that made it sound like a normal vacation suggestion rather than something secretive. My mind raced. Was she serious? Was this a business retreat? Or had she crossed some line I hadn't even noticed? I decided to confront it calmly rather than react impulsively. I texted back, "Can you clarify what you mean by going away? I want to understand the context." Her response came almost instantly, "It's just a little getaway. Nothing to worry about. Just us talking, you know." The casual tone only made the suspicion worse. I tried calling her, but she didn't answer. I left a calm voicemail asking her to explain. By the time I got home from work, I was on edge. My stomach churned, my thoughts spiraling. I didn't want to accuse her outright without evidence, but I also couldn't ignore the feeling in my gut that something was off. That night, I waited. I knew she would return home eventually, and when she did, I needed answers. Around 11 p.m., Samantha walked through the door, carrying a briefcase and a coffee cup, looking exhausted but otherwise normal. I met her in the living room. "We need to talk about your text," I said, my voice steady but firm. She paused, a flicker of panic in her eyes. "Derek, it's not what you think," she said. I nodded, waiting for her to continue. She sighed, sitting down across from me. "Alex, he's going through some personal stuff. He's stressed. He's asked me to help him organize some work ideas over the weekend. That's all. It's professional." I didn't know how to explain it in a text. I studied her face carefully. She looked genuine, stressed, and slightly guilty about how the text could be misread. "So, this isn't a getaway in the personal sense?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. "No," she replied. "Just work. I swear." Her honesty made me feel both relieved and embarrassed for jumping to conclusions. But the moment wasn't over. I had spent the day thinking about how easily misunderstanding can destroy trust. So, I decided to take action that would prevent future panic. I suggested, "Okay, I need you to copy me on any communication about this weekend, emails, plans, anything. I'm not trying to control you, but I need transparency so my imagination doesn't run wild again." She looked surprised but nodded. "I understand," she said softly. "I'll make sure you know what's happening." Over the next 48 hours, everything unfolded exactly as she said. There was work planning, scheduling meetings, and no personal escapades of any kind. My trust, while shaken, slowly started to rebuild because the truth had been transparent and consistent. When the weekend arrived, Samantha left for the work retreat with my knowledge and approval. She checked in periodically, sending updates about their brainstorming sessions and new project timelines. By Sunday evening, she returned, tired but happy about the productivity. I felt a strange mix of relief and pride in handling the situation without exploding in accusations. Later that night, we sat together, laughing about how a single text had nearly caused a fight. I realized how fragile assumptions can be and how easily distrust can creep into a marriage if communication falters. The shock of the initial message had been intense, but the real lesson wasn't betrayal, it was how I responded. I chose patience, clarity, and calm, and that decision prevented a misunderstanding from snowballing into resentment. That weekend became a turning point in our marriage. It reminded us both that honesty and transparency aren't just ideals, they're survival tools for any relationship. I also learned that sometimes the scariest texts aren't a signal of wrongdoing, they're an opportunity to test boundaries, communication, and trust. In the end, Samantha's intentions were professional, But the experience taught me more about myself, about patience, and about the importance of confronting suspicion with clarity rather than anger. And that, ultimately, saved us from a weekend that could have turned into a lasting fracture in our marriage.